3 ways to share cannabis without transmitting the coronavirus.
Yeah, this is from benzinga.com. So the first thing is inhalation, smoking, or vaping. Either way, basically they're saying puff, puff, don't pass.
Well, I think the puff, puff pass is probably over in our culture now after this.
Yeah, so if you get past a joint, are you gonna take it?
Depends on who from, I guess. Right now, I won't be past a joint at all because I'm not going anywhere to see anyone.
Right. Yeah, have you
I
ever...
don't know. How about you?
Well, so I may smoke it like a chillum, like in my finger, have the pre-roll or joint sticking out of a finger and then smoke out of my hand.
Right.
Chillum.
See, I've not mastered that. I'm gonna have to up my I'm gonna have to up my game.
Right, you just have to remember not to touch your face, because if you were still touching the crutch or the filter, you can still come in contact with that. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, definitely I won't if I'm at an event, because I know that I got sick when I was at MJ BizCon in Vegas, probably taking a pre-roll, and if not that, it was the airplane. So I'll be just smoking by myself. So I don't think it's sharing necessarily. You're not sharing, you're just smoking with a bunch of people and not passing.
I think that's what the article's saying, basically. You can smoke a joint, you can vape, but you don't pass.
Yeah, so I think maybe a lot of those smaller pre-rolls are going to become more popular, like the quarter gram, third of a gram, half gram, and then you just all smoke your own.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's going to... And so with the edibles, I mean, you eat your own,
right.
It's not like you... Well, I mean, you may cut up, an edible, but that's cool. That's sort of...
Well, so edibles and beverages are number 2, but before we get there, maybe the worst thing about pre-rolls is the custom. That's perfect scenario for spreading the COVID. So you place it, the pre-roll in your mouth, or an item that's previously in someone else's mouth, which is great for spreading the disease. Versus, I think where we're seeing a lot of the sales for edibles is because you don't have to smoke, because the smoking tobacco is deteriorating the lungs, right? I mean, cannabis doesn't do that to the same effect.
But people's perception is that it does, and compromises your bronchial or lung health, which you're trying to keep that healthy, because if you do get this thing, it will attack that. So,
yeah, I mean, are you even going to take the chance? Are you even going to risk that?
Yeah, I think edibles will become more popular because of this. I mean, yeah, people are like, oh, shouldn't smoke because of the lungs thing. Plus, you can stay medicated longer, which I guess, and you can and you can share, like you can each eat, without passing. You can each eat, like if you're gathering with, or if you had a date or you're gathering with someone, you could have edibles without sharing.
Yeah, Mary White, she just shared some of her gummies with me last week. So mints or chocolates or whatever you can share.
Yeah.
You can't if you're in Canada, because that's only 10 milligrams and there's just not enough to share. So I don't know what Canadians are going to do.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Well, I mean, yeah, that's for us. But a lot of people, a lot of people are on that whole retail dosing. 10 milligrams is enough. Not us, but a lot of people.
Yeah, and then there's the drops or tinctures, which, I've noticed really kind of takes away my urge to smoke. I was smoking a lot of blunts last year, and I started doing a lot more tinctures this year.
Yeah.
And my desire to smoke is a lot less than it was.
Mm-hmm. Me too. With that, I like, because I come from a cocktail culture, right? Charleston was a big drinking city. crafty cocktails, all of this. So I like the tincture in that whether you're doing alcohol or not, so you can mix it with alcohol if you do alcohol, but if you're not, you can still make little cocktails with the tincture in a party atmosphere type, spirits type thing. So I like the tincture for socializing, in that you can make a show of making a crafty cocktail out of
Mm. Yeah, they're saying that this is the best way to share cannabis, is to take a clean dropper and pour the drops into a separate glass of a drink. So making some extract cocktails, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
maybe
think that's going to be the ways, like you can still, once the virus lifts, clears, whatever you call it, and we can get together again, I think that we will be changed as a culture to be more aware and self-protective. So that whole sharing a joint outside of a bar or music venue with the complete stranger, which this did a few weeks ago, right, is over. I think that's over for us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, yeah, because even then the whole COVID-19 language was on the street. It was, maybe when this happened, it still wasn't so much right at our doorstep, but it was still on people's minds from the news. And someone even mentioned that then. This was weeks ago, right? So I don't, so that was on that person's mind that was sharing the joint then.
Mm.
Even though they had solicited a hit from this said joint of mine, they're still on their mind. So I think we're not going to get over this mentally back to the free, passing of joints, passing bongs. Yeah. We were, as a culture, the weed people had long overlooked common sense protections like that. I mean, you don't even weed people that would smoke a joint on the sidewalk with complete strangers wouldn't go back in the bar and drink out of someone else's glass.
Mm.
That was totally taboo and unacceptable, but you can, swap bodily fluids with a joint and no one, thought of it as dangerous. So I think it's time we catch up and got smarter.
So there are a lot of bills that are going to take a back seat. The marijuana lounge bill that I was writing to allow for cannabis consumption in Washington,
Mm-hmm.
the back seat. And so I'm wondering about other, when bars open up, are people going to eat nachos? I mean, like how far is it going to go with, because finger licking good was suspended. KFC suspended that slogan.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of complaints about that. So, I mean,
yeah.
What's your take?
It depends on how bad this gets, really. I believe that's yet to be known because, yeah, I think we haven't seen the worst of this. And if the worst is worse than we can imagine, then restaurants may never be the same. We may never have communal eating situations again. We don't really know. It's yet to be known.
Yeah, I think New York and Tokyo are going to be hugely impacted culturally because their residents are so small that culture is built around going out and meeting people for lunch and dinner and every day of the week almost.
Right, you're saying people don't eat in their own little homes because their homes are so small. Some of them don't even really have kitchens.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. are you on lockdown? What's your take on that?
Yeah, interesting enough. I work from home anyway, so my lifestyle hasn't really changed. Our crew members in a construction, we're a construction subcontractor. And interesting enough, we've been deemed essential. And I guess that's arguable with construction is essential when you consider that what we're building is multifamily housing. So yes, it's important. We need housing. We're in a housing crisis. But these projects won't be completed for 12 months, 18 months. I mean, you're looking at, at least a year before people are living in these buildings that we're constructing right now. So is it actually essential that construction workers put themselves at risk to continue a project that is not going to be lived in immediately? That's, I think, debatable and could change the next day. I mean, that could be reconsidered when they go to look around Capitol Hill, for instance. On every corner, there's a construction site. Therefore, there are hundreds of construction workers in one neighborhood when you're building 3 apartments on one corner. So I don't know. It's just brand new news. So we'll see what happens day to day. Right now, we're working, sending our crews out with safety meetings about their personal protection. Our crews are only 7 men, and they should report to a building that is empty when they do their work. So there are some advantages there. They can social distance from others, but not each other. They ride together, they report to the same shop and all of that. So we just do safety meetings and send them on their way, hoping for the best right now and expecting that any day our job site will be shut down.
Yeah, so you're essential. The cannabis company, or at least the cannabis shops, are deemed essential, so they're going to remain open. But a lot of stuff is closing. So I'm not sure that people are going to be able to afford those houses that you're building, and eventually people are going to be pulling back on cannabis too. Kind of funny because I'm seeing a report from Headset already. Like Nevada sales have plummeted as the strip is basically closed. And every other store, they saw a spike that was more of a panic buy, and it's leveled off just a couple of days later. So it looks like the 14th of March it peaked, and by the 20th they were at normal, and then even starting to dip below normal.
Yeah, and I think cannabis shops are essential in that, just like a pharmacy would be. In my opinion, all use is medicinal use. So I think that, but a lot of shops are closed. So you're going to find some are busier because their neighboring shops are closed. Therefore, social distancing is more difficult when the shop is busier. So there's those challenges that the employees have to.
I think Uncle Likes here locally has been doing a pretty good job with the pre-orders and making sure that you stand 6 feet away. That's marked out in chalk. But Canopy Growth in Canada took an opposite approach. They closed all of their Tweed stores and their Tokyo Smoke coffee shops, which I don't think Seattle would put up with that. Even the coffee shops that don't have drive-thrus, like Starbucks closed all the ones that don't have drive-thrus. But other mom and pop coffee shops have just had people pre-order and then they walk out and give it to you. So it's a little weird that Canopy Growth, being publicly traded, has just decided to close without trying to look for workarounds, even though they're deemed essential businesses.
That is interesting. You would think that being publicly traded, the shareholders would have more concern about profits than people, like most corporations. However, maybe that's good that they're looking out for the employees more so than the dollars. perhaps.
Yeah, Boston had made it for medical patients only. So I hope some people had stocked up on that. Have you gone into panic buying mode with cannabis, or are you holding out for 420?
No panic buying. I am a little low on some daytime flower, but as we talked about, trying to think about maybe cutting back on smoking, perhaps I'll replace that with, I made some capsules for low dosing, to keep me from smoking. But no, I did visit when I was out already grocery shopping. I ran into my neighborhood shop and threw down a little bit of cash for some pre-rolls, just so I want, show support. Wanted them to stay open. So I intend to do that, not make special trips or excessive buying, but if they're going to be open, I want to be supportive.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I agree that cannabis shops should be essential. I mean, in the fact that medical access has already been suppressed so greatly in the past couple of years. We went from, shops and co-ops on every corner to the closure of so many access points over the past few years that, closing shops would be detrimental to a patient that depends on it for pain relief. I mean, just because you are staying at home doesn't mean that you should stay at home in pain or that you should lean on prescriptions any harder than you have to. So I agree with that, treating it as a pharmacy. That's what the people voted for when they approved medical cannabis so many years ago. It is medicine and it should be considered as such.
Yeah, and I think with the anxiety that people are going to be having with this pandemic, people that are going to be overworked or whatever else. So CBD is still the most researched wellness trend on the internet. I remember in 2018, it was like the #1 search term. There's over 500,000 scholarly articles. So folks that can't get THC are probably going to be buying even more CBD.
Yeah, I mean, and anxiety is a real condition, and cannabis is a real treatment for it. So all the more important for people to stay calm and get some sleep. Not, couples with, that are having to be together more than normal. Coping mechanism for that is to get stoned together. Perhaps you won't be so mad or anxious or annoyed by one another's constant presence. So it's an important tool. I think we should all smoke more weed or consume it in some fashion.
That's a good place to end. You want to state your name for the record?
I'm Shauna Stafford.
Shauna Stafford, you're a woman of weed and an advocate in South Carolina, Southern.
Right. So I am an advocate for marijuana law reform in the Carolinas, and I work with the Normal Women of Washington to lobby our legislators right here in Washington. I'm a resident of Tacoma, and I'm happy to live in cannabis freedom.
Well, I'm Josh Kincaid. With that, we're going to roll this one up. Thank you, Shauna, for being on the podcast. Appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't. And I'm out.